dummy switch pod. We're taking
Yes,
it to the
yes.
line. We're taking it to the line hard. We're hitting them with that dummy, that switch, and we're podding all the way. We're podding all the way to the try line. How are you, Chris?
I'm good at you, Coders. How you doing?
I'm good myself. No rugby,
Yeah,
but
man.
a lot of news, a
Hmm.
lot of news, a lot of stuff to get into.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's a lot that's been going on. I know you wanna, kick it off with, some of the
Yeah,
news that's.
let's kick it off with some hometown news for myself. Peter
Yeah,
Steph du
yeah.
Toit. It looked like he was on his way to Ireland, but
Mm,
higher ups at the IRFUs,
yeah.
they cut that one off.
Yeah, they weren't too happy about that one, right?
They weren't. They went for Jason Jenkins instead. I think they said it was a more suitable option, more affordable, and
Mm.
I think maybe the injuries have something to do with it as well.
Yeah, but I mean, like, look, I can understand from the Irish rugby perspective, because this is World Cup winning Springbok, and it is going to be a big salary for him while everybody else has taken a pay cut. So I can understand their thinking, but at the same time, it's like, look, if the club can afford it, why not? Let the guy play, man. I mean, come on,
Maybe,
just.
I don't know, maybe there's a few envious eyes. I don't know. Everyone's
Mm,
collecting their checks at the end of the month. Some guys less happy than others. I don't know.
they saw the pay slips. They saw the pay slips on the HR, and they were like, no, this is not
This
good.
one is too much money. This one is too much money.
but,
Another
but
team that seems like they have all the money in the world, the Bulls.
yeah, of course. Of course, they got that Motsepe and Rupert money, man. Like it's like, is that Rembrandt money? It's like, what? This is more small fry for them, man.
Yeah, rumors of Opa Mohoje, heading over to the Bulls, but the cheaters have said they've checked their phone. There's no missed calls. There's no DMs from them. They're still, they're still waiting on a proposal, still waiting on a sign.
Yeah, they're looking for a signal that hasn't come yet. But look, if those rumors are to be believed, I don't see that as for Opa, for his career. I don't see that as a bad move, right? The only thing is,
but is it a good move?
I don't think it would be a good move because, look, you're going there, my man. The cupboard is full already. It's full of loose forwards. It's full of locks, and here you are. You're going. Essentially, it's like, effectively, if he's going there, he's just going for payday, because there's a high chance that he might get there and find out that, and Jayquad sees that he's not better than the guys that he already has. I'm not saying that he's not a good player, because he's a brilliant player. So
yeah, that's the trouble. You can just sort of fall down the pecking orders. It's exactly by no fault of your own sometimes.
Yeah. So look, good move. No, from his security perspective, long term, yes, definitely. But from a playing perspective, I don't think it would be wise for him to try and go to the Bulls unless there is some sort of plan that you can see. But I mean, I think should be in his early, reaching his 30s soon, so his shelf life is, he's getting close to that expiration date, so yeah, I don't think it would be a good move for him. No, maybe if you went to Japan, I'd say, okay, go to Japan, I mean, get that sushi, get that yen, and be right.
Yeah, speaking of guys reaching the expiration dates and Japan, we've got Malherbe.
Mm-hmm.
Malherbe, this time him turning down the move at the age of 30, but I suppose front row has got a bit of an extended shelf life. Turning down the money, choosing to stay with the Stormers, citing the box as the main reason. If he had gone over there, his club duties would have overlapped with the Lions tour.
Yeah, look, yes, let's be honest. For a guy like Frans Malherbe, I mean, he's already got the inside lane on a lot of guys. So, he's in a position of comfort where he can say no, to a money move in Japan. He's older. He probably has his farm already. He doesn't need to worry about anything long term. So for him, he's comfortable. He doesn't want to move his family to Japan and things. And yeah, Springboks, you understand that. But I mean, how many guys that are World Cup winning Springboks that are playing overseas? Some are already playing in Japan. Malcolm Ox is in Japan. So I just think it's just a thing for him. He just don't want to do it. And as well, I think the speed of the game in Japan, maybe that's one of the things that he's thinking about. Like, no, I don't want to do that. Like because it's quicker, over there. So I just think for him, it's just not a right fit for him. From a personal point of view. But you never know. You can see maybe in a few years' time, you could see maybe if he's
there's still time for him. There's still time. I mean, we've seen front rowers go on in age. Another front rower back to the Bulls. This time more interesting. They've got Dlamini, who they've picked up from clubside Crusaders in Durban. It's an exciting one. He's nicknamed the Giraffe, which you wouldn't necessarily, you think he'd be playing lock, but he's a prop. And it's just exciting to see, guys being called up from that club level. I personally feel there's a lot of value that's being underutilized in SA club rugby structures.
Yeah, and talking about that, when we had Marco van Staden on here a few weeks ago, it's one of the things that he mentioned about the value of club rugby and how SA Rugby could potentially be doing more to pick up guys from club rugby. And here's the Bulls, his team right now, leading the way, and showing the example and actually, not, I wouldn't say taking a leap. I mean, the guy's good enough. Clearly he's good enough if he's deemed that, he's a resource that the Bulls want, So I think it's good, and it'll further bolster the confidence of aspiring professionals, to know that at any stage, it doesn't matter what level you're playing at any stage, if you're performing at a top level, and you're showing all the right qualities, your name can get called up at any moment, and that's what's happening. So it is exciting. I completely agree with you, the quarters, So yeah, the Bulls are busy. The Bulls are busy.
Yeah, no, that office, the admin, the paperwork going through there. We'll get back to him in a second. Another prop signing, this time to Rock Nation, is Beast and Tawarira.
Beast, yeah.
Does this mean he's going back to the Sharks?
Look, I think we jokes aside, I think we touched on this when we were talking about Mkuno. I think is it Mkuno? Yeah. When we were speaking about him, because he scored that try, 8th man converted to prop, and we did mention that Beast, because there'd been some images circulating on social media with him and Beast together having a big lunch, of course, and you can actually, I can see Beast going back to the Sharks, yes, maybe not in a playing capacity, but adding that value from an IP perspective and helping players, particularly props, develop, within that franchise. And
yeah.
I think the Sharks, I think the Sharks are putting together, they're somewhat putting together a good sort of unit, a good team around their franchise, around what they're trying to do, And I read an article of Beast when he was talking about how, the signing of Siya Kolisi is just, it's further adding to the transformation agenda of the Sharks. It's not that they are transforming because of that they had already been, and you can see it with the amount of players of color that are in the Sharks setup, and it's a no-brainer for me to keep Beast, or to try and keep Beast within that setup, to keep his influence. That experience, you can't buy that experience, and the youngsters can just feed off that experience, for years to come.
And I mean, for me, I think this is particularly from a branding perspective. I mean, how many people don't know rugby, but they know that Beast, you know what I mean? So I think particularly from a branding point, they would have wished that, especially if they could have got 1 or 2 more years out of him. But I'm sure they'll put him to use nonetheless.
But I also think with that, sorry, Kodos, but I also think with that, it's also in terms of the MLR or the Major League Rugby as well. I think Beast will most likely have a big role to play that side, because it is Rock Nation, so like you said, from a branding perspective with Rock Nation is big, who doesn't know Rock Nation, and now having Beast, being there involved with the Major League Rugby, he was in the States, last year, so I think he's got a big role to play on both sides, both in America and locally.
Yeah, moving further down the map, we've got the Stormers, Willie Engelbrecht heading down to Cape Town with his bags, covering for Augustus. Well-deserved move, well-deserved. Yeah. He got a chance earlier in his career with the Lions, and he played 1 or 2 preseason games, but he didn't quite have the impact and the game time that I felt he maybe should have got. Hopefully it's different this time. I think it will be different this time.
Yeah, I think it will be different. He's a more experienced player now. We've seen his impact at the Pumas, and look, we've been saying this. We've been preaching this since Super Rugby unlocked the Currie Cup, and we were talking about the Pumas and the Griquas feeding the bigger unions, and we've been circling players, say it's only a matter of time before the big guys come knocking, and there's Engelbrecht's chance, and all that is, it's just, that's a big tick for me, in my view. That's a big tick to the Pumas system in terms of what Jimmy Stonehouse is doing, and just all their players, because at the end of the day, yes, it's individual performance that's what got him there, but the team as a whole, because if the team wasn't performing, I don't think, he would have been considered. They could have easily just looked elsewhere to try and boost their stock. So, well deserved. I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, you've got to wonder if more guys from that setup are going to get calls elsewhere.
I think so. I think so. I think, I think it's a unique position that SA Rugby, just the whole rugby landscape finds itself in, and it's open season for a lot of guys, and it's really, if you get a chance, whatever tournament or whatever game you play, you have to put your hand up. You have to make sure that you're at your best, because one thing for sure is that, the higher ups at the different franchises, they're watching, and the coaches are watching. There's scouting reports are going left and right, and
some of them are watching because their jobs are in jeopardy. They're looking at some of those coaches will be taking their jobs, man.
You know what I mean? But the opportunities are there. It's unfortunate, with what COVID has provided, but with adversity there comes an opportunity, and there's plenty of opportunity, and you'll see. I think as we even go along to talking about the guys from like the Pumas and Griquas as well.
Yeah, that's the next one we're going to talk about. Bulls confirming the signing of James Verity, who looked like he was working very hard to get out of Kimberley. He's finally booked that ticket on the Greyhound, because I don't think there are flights. I do not think that there are flights.
Look, we called this months back, right? We said that guy, it's about time. It's only a matter of time before he gets the bus ticket.
That man was fighting. That guy was fighting. He was trying to get out of that place.
Look, he was just saying, look, I'm here, but I don't belong here, I don't belong here, and the Bulls came, and I think he's an exciting prospect for the Bulls, because
definitely, and he gives them options at wing and fullback.
Yeah, and you can actually see, because initially it's no secret, their first choice for the Bulls was Damian Willemse. They wanted Damian Willemse. They couldn't get him, and the next guy that they could get is Verity, who also has that same level of X factor, that excitement, and that versatility as well. And I think just from a technical point of view, Veritiam, I mean, in the Griquas setup, he stood out. You could, in every game, you could see he really did stand out.
Edwin Keita is at home saying, "Why not me? Why not?"
Look, if I was him, I wouldn't be despondent because it's only a matter of time before he gets a call. Even it's even the same with some of the wingers and the centers from the Pumas as well. It's for me, I just see it's going to happen. I mean, the Stormers, we know they're going to look to offload Leolon Zas. I'm just looking to my crystal ball. I'm just looking to my crystal ball. They're going to look to offload Leolon Zas, and you probably find himself at the Pumas, and somebody else will be going the other way. Maybe not. We don't know. But what my crystal ball says, I think that will happen. So if I was Edwin Keita, I'd be sitting tight, my bag packed at the door, ready to go. So I have a call with Greyhound, say, listen, just keep this bus ticket price for me, at any moment I'll be on there, so yeah, I wouldn't be despondent if I was him.
Yeah, surely not. The Bulls as well, picking up Jacques du Plessis, him returning to the Bulls team. Interesting that the Sharks were in for him as well. They tried to pursue him, but they didn't quite get him. He's interesting because he covers lock and flank. Manchezi is out. I think it's an ACL, so he's going to step in there straight away.
Yeah, unfortunate for Manchezi, and look, he was looking good, man. He was really starting to look good. He was just, he was becoming that guy for them, for the Bulls. Where hard carries, but it's opportunities. And look, the Sharks were always going to lose out, primarily because du Plessis' dad, Jake White, is the coach. So he coached him at Montpellier. Of course, and Jake White, we know how Jake White is about the big boys. He loves athletes. Big, strong athletes, and that's what he is. That's what he brings. So, look, what Jake White is doing and what the Bulls are doing, for me, it's just, it's really going to be frightening. It's a frightening prospect, to the potential sort of level that they can reach just by sheer quality of players that they have and depth that they have. It can make them a very, very, very dangerous team, and you can see another Bulls dynasty forming, again. But there's still a lot to be seen.
Yeah, you've got to wonder, like, those other teams on the other side, they're busy watching this Bulls team assemble, and I don't think that they're feeling great about it. I don't think that they're feeling great about it, knowing that, they're going to see big Jacques du Plessis in a few weeks.
Yeah. They need to find a solution. They need to start running to the bank, go to their sugar daddies, get the checkbooks out, and start making moves, making more moves. But at the same time, you can't panic because you've got the talent. I think there's a healthy production of tight forwards and loose forwards in South African rugby. So yes, as much as the Bulls are frightening prospect, but I think all the other franchises are also getting their stuff together, but maybe not at the same level and pace as the Bulls, but they lead
particularly
the way,
I'm also talking about overseas. These guys, they're not going to be looking forward to this.
They're not at all. I mean, geez, you think, you look at that Bulls team, imagine, you're looking at that Bulls team, you're just seeing, number one, you're seeing freaking 100% pure South African beef everywhere, quality A-grade beef. And then you've got here Springboks left and right, experienced campaigners, then you've got pacemen all around the park. It's not going to be, I don't think that'll be a pleasant day at the office for anybody, to be honest.
Yeah. Some less notable signings. Jacques Potgieter, a bit of a journeyman. I think he's returning to the Cheetahs. I think he's played with them before. Griquas as well. Ruan Steenkamp going to the Griquas. I think that's a good signing. I've rated him.
That's Stoney, right? That's Stoney. Yeah, I think he'll be a good fit. he looks like he's from Free State anyway, so you know what, he fits in.
That's another Krugersdorp boy. You're taking shots at another Krugersdorp boy.
No, and I mean that in the most sincerest way. Is that like he's rugged, you know, he's tough, and he's just, you know, and that's why he ended up getting into the pool setup, you know, and it's just unfortunate how things fell for him, but you know,
I think it was one of those things with injuries and having that stacked loose forward. But a guy that I rate, some other guys going for some holidays to France, Elton Yankees, going for a brief one, Marcel van der Merwe. I think he's going to Pau, if that's the correct pronunciation.
Yeah.
Marcel van der Merwe going like to La Rochelle to join up with Raymond Rule and the boys.
Raymond Rule, yeah.
Interesting. This one for Lions. For the Lions, it just means that number 10 jersey is up for grabs. Zeilinger and Tian Swanepoel, it's going to be maybe someone else will emerge as well if he's back from injury.
If he's back from injury, yeah. But look, it's just rather unfortunate the timing and his injury. But you know, I just feel he should be the next guy in. You know, if he was injury free right now, he'd be a shoot-in. Number 10, Gianni Lombard, and without a doubt, you know.
Molensi as well. It's a shame that he got injured, because I mean he was playing 10 for, I think, the under-20s or something for junior box. Myself, van der Merwe, keep catching those checks, keep getting that money.
Yeah, he's cashing in, you know. But I think as well they sent him back. I think maybe the conversation is, look, you missed a few lessons in France, you know, in the scrumming, so you need to go back and go catch up on that course, you know, and then come back stronger, I think, you know, because look, let's be honest, ever since he's been back, the scrumming hasn't been the best, you know, from the past that he was before he left, and then when he came back, he just hasn't found that gear. So maybe, you know, there's a lot to do with that. You know, he needs to go exercise some demons over there and come back, you know, better, you know, for the bull scrum, because we touched on it in a couple of weeks ago that, you know, from a Bulls perspective, the scrum may be a concern for them, you know, to try to get that right. And the depth in the scrum, especially when Trevor is not there and Lizo's not there as well, you know.
Last rumor of the day, we've got Mbonambi, another Rock Nation man.
Yeah.
You know, the rumors are flying. The rumors are flying that, you know, he's weighing up his decision. He's yet to make up his mind. He doesn't know leaving or going, staying or remaining. He doesn't know which one, you know. They've signed Skara, so you know they're looking to retain him. And there's this rumor going around that Joseph Dweba is going to return and take his place, but with what money? And we all know he's coming to the Lions, so.
But also, there's also the other side of it. There's the rumor that they're trying to also get Malcolm Marx to come to the Stormers in case Mbonambi leaves, you know, which again, with what money? You know, that's the other side of it is, you know, but maybe the Marx one will be a bit easier because of SA Rugby. He's a contracted player. But, you know, Mbonambi, look, if the Sharks were able to pull off that deal and get Bongi Mbonambi into their setup, I think that'll be a master stroke because...
Yeah, it will be.
Because, look, he's a proven international hooker. He's a World Cup winning Springbok. And the Sharks have had the issues at number 2. And now you're bringing in... You're
bringing in the guy.
Yeah, you know, and Fez will absorb so much. Dylan Richardson will absorb so much from Bongi, and all of a sudden the Sharks with him at hooker start looking like a very, very different prospect, you know, looking at their team, because I think when he will demand high standards from his pack, you know, and having his friend there, Sia, as well, you know, I can only see if they had to pull that off, they would also be forming something, a very formidable formidable team, you know, and the Stormers equally. I'd be scared, you know, if I'd be doing everything, sending him bribe packs every week, you know, just.
Sia's already added him to the group chat, the Sharks group chat. They're trying to.
He's within. He's within, you know, he's there. They've got their own inside jokes, you know, and look, I wouldn't be surprised, you know.
We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised as well. All I'm saying is, Joseph Dweber, if you're watching, come to death row, come to the Lions.
Okay, Suge Knight.
Yeah. Let's talk competitions now. You know, we've got the SA rounds of the Rainbow Cup. You know, we've got some fixtures, which looked in doubt due to sort of the visa situation and the COVID situation.
I don't think it's. I think it's still a little bit in doubt for the overseas leg. I don't know. It just, for me, just.
I don't. It seems like it's day to day.
And I don't think that's good, you know, for anybody, because look, I think pro rugby, they need to go to their, because they're there, you know, they need to go to their people, their governments, and, you know, speak to them and just, you know, and tell them what it is, that listen, you know, we need these guys here, you know, give them the special visas, special whatever dispensation or whatever they call it.
I don't know. I was, from my understanding, I thought it was going the other way. I thought it was maybe South Africans coming over to Europe, but I'm not sure. From what I've seen, they've sort of said it's not in our hands. But hopefully they get it sorted. First round, Stormers hosting the Sharks. Sia Kolisi taking a trip back home. Bulls versus Lions as well.
Yeah.
So good matches. New laws being introduced as well,
which is good. Finally, you know, there's some innovation. You know, I think, you know, there's no better time to try things than now. You know.
But do you agree with the laws? I mean, we look at, there's a red replacement. After 20 minutes, red card, you get to replace the man. There's captain's challenge, which is sort of that review something that happened within the last 5 minutes, sort of like cricket. The next one is a goal line dropout, which is if your player gets held up or you knock it on in the in goal, then the defending team get to take a drop on the try line.
Look, I mean, they saw that clearly. Let's be honest. Clearly, we've all been watching Super Rugby Aotearoa, you know, so they were like, no, this is nice. So, you know, if it's nice, we've adopted that, you know, and look, New Zealand are the standard bearers, and I think they've given SA Rugby the courage, you know, to put these things in place and not be so rigid in their approach, and really for us fans, you know, to give us, you know, a different picture, you know, in different situations, you know, keep us on our toes as well, you know, in the situation. So look, I can't complain. The red card one, I like it, you know, I like it because it's, after 20 minutes, okay, you know, let's get a guy, because then we bring back that sort of
the competitiveness of the game,
15 versus 15, you know. But I mean, we've seen in recent weeks a 13-man team beats a 15-man team as well. So I mean,
the one for me that stands out is if you get held up, then you don't retain the ball, which to me was sort of, when I got introduced to rugby, I would have thought for holding someone up, you know, in the end goal, you'd get rewarded for that.
Yeah.
The scrum on the 5 meter to the attacking team doesn't seem like a reward.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a good change, you know, because now guys are even more incentivized to sort of on their line, defend their try line. Look, we're not saying that they don't, but now you know that if you are able to hold the ball up, you know, you can at least, you get the chance to kick the ball away, you know, after that. So
I personally maybe would have awarded the defensive team the scrum. Start that way.
have them play out.
Yeah, give them that opportunity. But it's interesting. We'll see. We'll see how this one goes. I think you can take over the next one. It's the Pacifica, the introduction of 2 new teams.
Look, I think this has been a long time coming. I watched the press conference with when they announced it, and look, it only makes sense because all those it's New Zealand, it's Fiji, Tonga, Samoa. They're all close to each other, and let's be honest, some of the best players in the world all come from the Pacific Islands. The most exciting players, as a matter of fact. If you look at Tuisova, who's playing in France, that guy's built like a house, and he's just, and then you look at Vakatawa as well. He plays for France, and I think it's good on the Pacific nations to sort of band together and say, okay, listen, let's try grow the game ourselves. And for me, I have the sense that just like maybe we were a bit too young back then when rugby went professional, when Super 10 was introduced, but I kind of get the sense that this is the new era of rugby down under, and now Pacific rugby per se, where I think we're going to see some mad rugby. Number one, all that's going to do is it's going to grow the sort of pool. Let's not kid ourselves. This is just my view, that it's going to grow the pool where New Zealand have more island players to pick from. Number one.
I think it's going to do the opposite.
Okay.
I think it's going to do the opposite. I think that what it's going to do is you're going to get a lot of guys returning home. You're going to get a lot of guys that have made their money overseas. Yes. They're going to be returning, and they're going to be coming and playing for these 2 teams. And they're going to try and get citizenship or eligibility back with their birth nations. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, that too. There's 2 sides to it, right? I agree with you, yes, but I also see there being look, there's a premium on playing for the All Blacks. I mean, if you think of the heritage of the Pacific Island players.
But is it as much now as it was?
In terms of their representation?
In terms of sort of, maybe we look back, let's say 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're starting to see a lot more guys choose the Tongas, choose the Fijis, choose the Samoas over the All Blacks.
Yeah. Look, that's going to happen indefinitely because, guys they are woke now, they're woke. They want to be, they want to recognize and acknowledge their heritage, right? But all I'm saying is that there are still going to be those players that would still see the All Blacks as their pinnacle, right? And would filter in to that setup. But at the same time, what it's going to do is it's going to lift the level of Samoan rugby much higher. It's going to take Fijian rugby to the next level. But let me not say Fijian rugby. Let me say the 15-a-side game, because from a sevens perspective, Samoa and Fiji have always been right up there. Now it's just a matter of translating that into the 15-man game. And I think that, yes, quite rightly so, you're going to find a lot more players wanting to represent their country in the 15-man landscape. But there are also going to be those ones that are also equally good or even better, still wanting to try crack it into the All Blacks. And if they don't make it, it's sort of easier for them to slot into Samoa, Fiji, Tonga. All I'm saying is this, is that in maybe next 8 to 12 years, we may see a final where there is a Polynesian team, or we'll see knockout games where there is a Polynesian team in there outside of New Zealand, where it could be a Fiji or Samoa. But like I say, 8 to 12 years minimum. I think that's what they're trying to do. Listening to the press conference, you can tell that there's a lot of sort of passion behind it, where they spoke about how, Samoa and Fiji back in the 87 World Cup, they made it to the knockouts, same in 91 and also 95, even 2007, even when Tonga had a good 2007 World Cup as well. So they've always been there. Then they sort of almost regressed because the powers that be at World Rugby were more interested. And look, they were looking after their own interests, and I think this is really they're going to stick it to them. That's what I see. And what I see is that they're probably going to try and prevent your England, your Irelands, your France, especially from absorbing the Polynesian players.
Yeah, at a national
and rather have those guys. Yeah, and rather have those guys, play for their countries. And I mean, if the deal goes through for New Zealand Rugby, I just the name of that investor just slipped my mind. That has been doing the rounds. But if they're able to secure, big money, I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be much easier for them to retain that talent. It's going to be easier for money to be pumped into Samoa, money to be pumped into Fiji. I think it's just a big collaboration over there. And also, it's going to benefit all of those teams down under. It's going to benefit them, including Australia. It's, for me, I just see there's going to be a big shift where everybody's going to be watching that competition because of, the craziest finishes, the big handoffs, the big bounces, the steps and everything. We're going to see that from that competition in 2022. And for me, I just think it's good it's the true globalization of that, of the game, where now we're getting these teams stepping up, and somehow as a South African, I feel a bit left out, to be honest, because it's like we decided to go north, and then there was this nice big announcement. And it's like, I should have maybe not gone, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see ourselves back down there, especially if the UK keeps on giving, the South Africans a run around from a visa perspective. I don't know, but all I'm saying, all in all, this is great for rugby as a whole, but also great for the Pacific Island rugby. They're going to be on the map. And watch the space. That's all I can say is watch the space of what's going to develop from down there. That's my take on it.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. A lot of flair, a lot of entertainment value. Something that stirred up a bit of controversy, which has been stirring up a lot of controversy since 2017, and it seems like a recurring thing that happens every single year.
Yeah,
it's something that we've seen at club level.
Yeah,
and that's WSU Walter Sisulu University doing the Haka. Every year, without fail, there's a controversy.
Yeah,
they deem themselves as the All Blacks, as they wear an All Black kit. They've sort of taken on that persona, and from my standpoint, why not?
Yeah. Look, think of it like this, right? You grow up, you watch, let's simplify it. You grow up, you saw the Karate Kid. After watching that movie, the next day you woke up, you went outside, and then you're busy trying to do, spinning kicks and whatever, trying to kick trees, because you were inspired.
Exactly. I was going to get to it further down the line, but one of their players came out and said their coach told them, we use New Zealand players as icons.
Yeah.
Which, in my own personal capacity, I did as well.
Same here.
The first team that I had a connection with was the Blues team. Carlos Spencer, Doug Howlett, Mulaina. That was the first team I had a connection to. And why? Because they looked like me.
Yeah.
There's also that sort of, they had that, it's a connection, that thing of using that team for inspiration and as an icon.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you, Cordis. I don't see anything wrong with that at all. I mean, for myself, guys like Tana Umanga, you know, Dagi Hala, Joro Kothoko, Sivavatu, like, I know for a fact you'll find, a lot of kids that look like you and I, you know, growing up, if you got the opportunity or were fortunate enough to see Super Rugby, those are the players that you wanted to be
And I
like.
mean, look at the Cape Crusaders. I guarantee
Yeah.
that's got something to do with it.
Yes, but and actually, let's take it back really to understanding the history of South African rugby as a whole. We must not forget that SA Rugby came from a place where black people were not allowed to play for the Springboks, or they had a different, they had to a different team go play over there, we play over
Yeah.
here. Segregation. Everybody knows that, right? And in effect, historically, all people of color, coloreds, blacks, historically would always support the All Blacks against the Springboks, because the Springboks at the time were seen as, a team, and were portrayed as a team only for white people, and you cannot look at a university that is predominantly, probably, I won't even know what the demographic is, but I'll say, it's 90% or 100% black, finding inspiration and connecting with a team like the All Blacks from, number one, a style of play, because, want to run the ball,
It's those two things. It's those two things. It's that you identify with them because you look like them, and then because
yes,
you want to play like them.
yes, and because from a historic point of view, as a people, you share the same sort of tragedy of the oppression by white people. That's a historical fact. We're not making this up, so I don't see anything wrong with that. People are complaining. I was reading, I was going on the socials, just checking what people are saying, because I read the article, and I was seeing what people are saying. And for me, I completely agree with those that say this is the biggest compliment to New Zealand rugby and its influence. People must understand, New Zealand and South Africa they need each other, and they influence each other so much, in terms of the rugby, in terms of the people. In a way, we are different, but we are also the same in terms of the passion that the two countries have for rugby.
We keep each other sharp.
Yes, if you look at it, after the Springboks beat New Zealand 3 times in 2009, New Zealand made changes. They got different players in the back three. They made adjustments. They started kicking the ball more, interestingly enough, more than what the Springboks were doing, and they found that winning formula inspired by the Springboks. Then with the Springboks now, they're coming through with, we won the World Cup with a forward dominated game, power game. And we saw that last year in Super Rugby Unlocked with the New Zealand teams, not Super Rugby Unlocked, Super Rugby Aotearoa, the New Zealand teams having a bigger emphasis on the mauls, and the tight play. We influence each other, and it's a good relationship. And all it is just WSU are just paying homage to the greatest test team that has ever played the game.
Yes, and they've gone out and said, we'll stop doing it if they deem it disrespectful, which they have not yet. And in my opinion, you're sort of seeing a lot of people, if you just watch it, there's people that are commenting that they haven't watched them do it. If you watch them do it, they're doing it with a passion. They're doing it with it. It's being done properly. Yeah. It's not a halfway attempt.
Yes, look, maybe they may not know the words correctly, which is, look, the thing is, it's not about, the thing is about the effort that they're putting into it. And like you say, you can see the passion that they have. They're all in on it, So I don't see that there's anything wrong with that. Look, and people that have a problem with it, people always go, oh, why don't you do a Zulu dance?
Yes,
Like
this is another issue that I wanted to touch on. People are saying, why don't you do a Zulu dance? Why don't you do the Xhosa dance? And what if they don't want to? What if they don't want to?
Yeah, I mean,
why are you now policing what these guys can and can't do, what they should and shouldn't do?
Yeah.
And besides the point, the player came out and said, we sing Amagwijo before, after, and during.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that those very same people don't know that. Those very same people don't go on YouTube or follow on the socials and see, pre-match or at the practices that these guys, they do sing Amagwijo before the game. They sing it on the bus, they sing it in the change room, they sing it at practice. And those very same people will not say, oh, I'm so proud of our South African culture. They won't say that. But they feel that they need to advocate for New Zealanders. And it's like, listen.
I saw a man with an Afrikaans name saying, as a Kiwi, I'm offended by this. It's the levels of ridiculousness.
Exactly.
It's astounding. It's astounding.
And you know what? For me, I'll take it as a compliment if somebody sees my culture or a specific element of my culture as something that they want to use to get themselves psyched up.
If they're having Amapiano nights in Japan, what are you going to be like? No, stop this thing.
Exactly. Look, we're in a global environment here. We are in a global environment, and these things are going to happen. People are inspired by different things. Different teams are inspired by different things. I mean, we all know about. It's almost like, hey, if we're to say, you have people in South Africa that, I myself am a gridiron fan. And I say, oh no, why are you supporting gridiron? You must stick to rugby. No, it's the thing is that we're inspired by a multitude of things, and that's it's all about that expression, and WSU are using the All Blacks as the pinnacle. They're not saying that we are New Zealand or we are the New Zealand All Blacks, but they are the WSU All Blacks because of their kit, number one. Number two, their
style of play.
And finally, let's not lie, a majority of the guys in the team are black. They're all black. So why do you have a problem? And then on top of that, they're using that Haka as an inspiration. I mean, it's just guys motivating themselves, or trying to psych themselves up and get into the zone, and they feel that's the vehicle that they want to use. It's not about that shouldn't matter. The fact that they use the Haka and whatever, it's the most iconic war dance. Fiji, they've got their own. Samoa have got their own. Tonga have got their own. But none of them come close. In all honesty, none of them come close to what the All Blacks have. And that Kauponga Haka that the New Zealanders have is something that, again, just showing how we are intertwined with the All Blacks. The first time that they did that was in 2005 against the Springboks, and if you and it just people should just really just take a chill pill. There's a lot of other problems in the world.
And the thing for me is there's this weird pick me thing where South African fans are saying, why are you doing this? Why do you support the All Blacks? Why are you doing this? But those are the same people who are the first to criticize anything to do with players of color in a Springbok game.
Yes.
So you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. The same people criticizing it are going to be those same people complaining.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those same people, most likely the same people that when Colisio was picked as captain, or why is he the captain? Or quota players, they're the first people to run to that tag and say, oh, quota players, whatever. And then when black players are doing in New Zealand, how say, oh, why are you doing that? You know, they trying to, and I mean, look, it's really, people need to stop, you know, just stop, take your nose out of your behind, you know, and let people be and understand. That's the thing, is that you need to understand why they're doing it, you know. And I saw a comment. I was a bit disappointed in this, where I saw a comment where an individual said, "Oh, these uneducated fools," and I thought, look, they're university students, so surely they're not uneducated, you know, because they're in uni, right? And then, and then, secondly, they've actually, like you pointed to it earlier, their former coach, when they started their journey back into varsity rugby, taught them or explained to them the history of why they look up to the All Blacks, you know, and these guys have spent time trying to understand why. And the captain has said it. There's an article out there that they've you know, looked to research the culture. The only thing that they're short of doing is getting a Maori consultant to come in and help them. Maybe that's what must happen. Maybe that's what must happen, right? Is that
must use the university funds.
Yeah, they must use the university
need to fly down
funds.
TJ Perenara.
You know, get the funds, funnel it to the rugby. Yeah.
And
getting in from Japan.
Yeah, Piriwipu. If you see Piriwipu in the Eastern Cape area anytime soon, just know he's there on business. You know, he's consulting.
He's a consultant. Yeah, maybe will that satisfy people if they do that? You know, and they get a Maori consultant or a representative to help them formulate their own haka. You know, will that shut people up? Probably not. People still have something to say.
The All Blacks can release a statement tomorrow. People would still be offended on their behalf.
Yeah, exactly. So look, and actually they NZR did say that they don't have a problem with it. They did say that they don't have a problem with it. And if they did have a problem with it, I mean, this would have been dealt with in 2017. You know, so people just need to relax. Just leave WSU alone. You know, and they pumped DUT. They pumped them, you know, and look, it works for them. You know, that's their thing. It works for them, you know. So leave them alone.
Yeah, man. Let the boys play. Leave them alone. Let the boys play, man. And I think that's it for us this week. Let the boys
play. Let them haka. Let them do whatever, you know.
Yeah, yes, man. Let the guys enjoy. No rugby, but we had a lot to talk about today. That's it from us. Thanks for watching, guys. Dummy Switch Pod out.
Thank you.